Welcome back to NVN London, and today is a massive day for this space as we are finally installing the official Timothy Oulton lounge. I say official because this isn't just a few select pieces from this wonderful interior design brand. This is an official lounge from Timothy Oulton, which means that they have gone over and above to transform it into a space that truly reflects their own style. Without further ado, let's give you a little bit of a highlight reel of some of these details, and then we'll walk you through the changes which have gone on at NVN, a deeper look at the lounge, and then we'll close with what the lounge looks and feels like once the installation has taken place. Before we head down to the lounge, big things have been happening at NVN since I've been away. This is our curving wall, which is going to connect to the kitchen area, and over there, look, we've got branded coloured flowers to create the NVN logo on the wall over here. So Wonderwall have done an incredible job of fitting out this installation. It's not complete yet, but it will be for open day. And for those of you guys who might have only just tuned into this, yes, these are real plants. This is real foliage. The idea came from when I visited the Ferrari factory and realized that they'd spliced foliage and trees in between each workstation to ultimately improve the working environment for their team. But how we take care of this is that at the top, you might just be able to see the cable up there. There is actually an irrigation system. And the system that Wonderwall have come up with, imagine like champagne flutes. So once you pour water in one, it trickles out and ends up watering every other one, and then eventually goes and gets caught and outside via that drain. So yes, this is a self-irrigating system. Wonderwall have developed it, and the result is so impactful. I'm not sure if the camera's doing it justice. Just on this wall alone, we have 2,500 plants, and then it doubles in size over there. So the installation and the effort that those guys have gone to is incredible. I implore you to go and check out their Instagram, link below, because some of the other installations that they've done around the world is fascinating. But once it's in, all of this foliage is going to flow, be broken up by this kitchen area here, and continue on this wonderfully curved wall. Now the reason for this space is that behind here is going to be a staff area where we can have locker rooms and places for a team to hold all of their gear when they arrive in the morning. Pretty neat space. But today is all about this space. Timothy Oulton isn't just a brand name, this is the name of a real man. I originally encountered this brand when I furnished my first house, and as a result I kind of fell in love with the aesthetic of it. But what's important about it is it's not just replicated. These guys are using time-honoured techniques, properly handcrafted, hand carving, traditional joinery, you know, unique hand finish processes for leathers, and all of the best materials are used. I remember when I first interacted with the brand, I sat on one of their sofas, and it wasn't just the way that it felt to sit in, it was the way that it smelt and the way that it felt. And so what I ended up doing was coming back to them just to buy a few select pieces of furniture. We got talking about what this furniture was all about. They bought into our vision as much as we bought into theirs, and lo and behold, we are now official partners to install a fully branded official Timothy Oulton lounge within NVN London. This place is going to be so awesome for clients and guests that come down here, and of course with the events that we're going to be holding here as well will be somewhat of an industry first. More on that soon, but it's a very exciting space to be doing some very exciting things in. So as you can see, it's not just about the main items of furniture themselves, it's also about the accessories and fixtures and fittings that are surrounding them within the lounge itself. So for example here, we have sourced some vintage road signs from in and around London to just set the context of where we are. Might not seem a big deal for those of us who live in England and London, but we have an international client base, and of course the content from here will also be going out around the world, and I think touches like this just kind of tie it in nicely while sort of truly representing the aesthetic of the lounge. These are more to decorate the lounge themselves, but we have these old helmets. We have some from horse riding, polo. We actually have a vintage racing helmet here that looks like it's from the 60s, around about that sort of time. Yeah, it's fascinating what these guys dig up in order to, you know, set context. But the impressive thing is these are all real. These are not fabricated to look like this. These are really vintage sourced components to dress up the room. Look, we've got old number plates. These are very cool. Check out this fencing attire. But the idea here is to create a juxtaposition between the warm, cozy, antique feel on the inside of the lounge versus, dare I say it, surgical environment outside where the cars are cured. And because we're essentially sat in a goldfish bowl here, the viewing platform out of here is going to make such a wonderful place for clients to hang out. So this is Anthony. Can I just get this right? You travel the world with Timothy Oulton, creating these wonderful spaces in predominantly major cities?
Yeah, like Los Angeles, Sydney, Hong Kong, we are everywhere, making sure, of course, all the stores look the same, consistently everywhere.
Have you ever installed a lounge in a car showroom?
No, this is the first time, and it's really impressive as well. So the items you're selling, your concept is great, and I think it's a great match as well.
So when you were sort of handed this brief, how do you think it's translated from when we first started talking? We were literally bouncing ideas around based on like squares on a paper going, oh, well, maybe we could put a table here.
I thought you were really picky.
Yeah.
Because you were selected one of the most beautiful items in our shop, so that was a really well decision. So then we had to make a story around it, and that was not easy as I thought.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, it came out really beautifully. We always talk in room sets, and that's like setting a theme. And the theme here is, so it's called Metro in our world, in Timothy Oulton language.
Okay.
And it's a mix of like silver stuff, and then of course the layering of all the vintage, what you will see here, like the license plates and the fencing swords and the masks.
How do you find the vintage items? Because I'm right in thinking that these are legitimately vintage, it's not like a recreation.
Of course, Tim's background, Timothy Oulton's background is antique and vintage, of course, and we have a special department who takes care of all the, like they have people working for them to go to all the marketplaces and select all those items, It's really impressive, And each item is unique, that makes it all very special.
We're opening officially in a few weeks. So hopefully you guys can make it.
We will be here, right?
We shall be giving you guys feedback as well as audience feedback as to your wonderful creation. So thanks very much for taking your Sunday, because we're doing this on a Sunday. So I really appreciate that. Flying in from LA, were you?
No, in Malaga, Spain.
Still, I dragged you away from some sunshine.
It sounds tropical,
Well, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Pleasure doing it.
So I think a quick tour of the lounge is in order. So depending on which part of the building you enter, there's a main entrance over there, or if you have just dropped your car off. And here is one, in fact we have 3 doors. So we'll just choose this one for now. So this is door number 1. As you can see, it is somewhat of a massive goldfish bowl in terms of it being this one big viewing arena. No matter where you sit, you can watch the work go on, you can watch the wash bay if you've just dropped in to have your car washed. Now, we also have 2 sliding doors, so just here. Now, the original reason behind those was that we might put a special car on show on occasion. So if we slide these 2 back, look, these are really beautifully engineered as well. Look at the work that's gone into those. So sliding doors here for in case we want to put a car on display, and then a 3rd door over there just for door's sake. Now, we'll work our way over here. This will then eventually be the coffee bar. So Timothy Oulton have created this wonderful bar. What you might be able to see around here is it's all, like, it's beautifully furnished. It's all quilted with something similar to Alcantara. It's not, but it is very similar to all of these shelving units. They're all trimmed beautifully and all of this stuff. Like, it's gorgeous. And they've all even left us with some wonderful Union Jack napkins just in case we throw somewhat of a shindig, which, as it happens, is coming soon. You might spot these around. This is actually somewhat of a Timothy Oulton signature feature, the old bowler hat. In fact, you can see it on their candles right there. This is a mark that they stick on pretty much every piece of furniture to indicate that it is an authentic piece of Timothy Oulton furniture. Speaking of which, probably my favourite item in this whole lounge is the propeller table. Now this table, the glass, it's got to be 1.5 inches thick. It's absolutely huge. If that was steel, solid steel, it probably wouldn't be that much heavier. It's ridiculous. It took a few big lads to get that in there. And the propeller, that isn't a manufactured propeller. That was sourced by the Timothy Oulton vintage team. That is off a Chinese fishing junk, would you believe? So that is off a real fishing boat. The significance of this sofa, they only made 50 of these. You could only buy it from their Bluebird store on the King's Road in London, and it was to commemorate the opening of their Bluebird London store, hence it being blue in themed. Very cool piece of kit. And then we move on to stuff which is aviation inspired. So these chairs, look, very conveniently, and those side tables, you can tell by the pop rivet architecture here, they all tie in nicely with the Valkyrie table, which is designed to replicate the wing of an aeroplane. And then this will be somewhat of a meeting, emails, whatever table you want to use this for. The idea being, though, that people can spend some time here, perhaps hang out, chat, do some emails, do some work while they wait, watch the work going on, and watch maybe their car being washed, who knows, or even complete it. If we know that they wish to do a handover from NVN, a great place to come and hang out. Now you might be wondering what parallels can be drawn between cards and cars. Well, predominantly, absolutely nothing at all. However, just down the road from NVN London is somewhat of a historical meeting place for bikers and petrol heads alike called the Ace Cafe. It's been an establishment of London for a very, very long time, and we just saw these items and thought, wouldn't that be a lovely tip of the hat to this establishment which has drawn petrol heads from actually around the world to this very part of London. They are literally a mile away across the road. And so they were well established before we were, and it was just somewhat of a doff of the cap to acknowledge their presence, and we have arrived upon their doorstep. Well, that's quite antisocial. Just listen for a second. Nothing. No drills, no hammering, no airlines, no music, no builders, no nothing. We're finally in the lounge. I cannot tell you how long I have been envisaging this very moment for. At first I thought I was just going to lean back and take it in selfishly on my own while I'm just here. But then I thought the whole reason I'm here is because of you guys, the audience. If it wasn't for you, this situation would not have arisen. I wouldn't have pushed my YouTube boundaries and flown my speciality to Dubai, which in turn led me to meet the guys who founded NVN in Dubai, got friendly with the founder of NVN Dubai, and then prompted the idea to bring it over to London. Never in a million years did I think that this was going to become reality. And when we said that we wanted to embrace the wider culture and community that surrounds these wonderful cars that we have the luxury and honor to drive and be able to share with you guys, one of the biggest parts of that was the lounge. This is designed to give wider purpose to what we're doing here. Yes, we're a business, and ultimately the goal is the best car care in London. Maybe the world one day, who knows? I know that sounds crazy, but we do have grand expansion plans. But it's more than that, isn't it? I always say that we don't need any of these cars, but we want them all. They are driven by the heart. And it's the people and the culture and the community and everything that surrounds those wonderful machines that we're trying to manifest in this one spot. It needs to be a no obligation, come in, hang out with like-minded people type of destination. Now, I must stress that this isn't going to be a completely open house. The idea for you guys and where you can get involved is that we're going to be holding events here. I shall unfold the story of what those events will look like, but think everything from talks by industry insiders, celebrities and interesting people, which will be reserved on a first come, first served basis. The podcast will be held in this very room, on this table, on that sofa, at that table. And then, of course, we'll be having much larger events where this will literally be open house. There'll be food, gatherings, cars all over our pretty substantial car park, and then we'll wedge the special stuff inside. This has been about 8 months in the planning now, and never did I think that we would have a partner like Timothy Oulton buy into our vision so much that they would wish to design the entire lounge. So I cannot say thank you enough to those guys. There's a link below to their website and their Instagram. I implore you to check those guys out. Their vision and their style and their design is unlike anything else this is scratching the surface, really. I just wanted to introduce you to the lounge, the vision of what I've been sharing with you so far. If you've been following this journey from the blank canvas that was this big empty warehouse, thank you so much, and I hope it has manifested as you imagined. And hopefully, we'd love to get you down one day to experience it for yourself. Anyway, this is where we are up to right now, but what this marks is the month that we officially open, because the last video, we were open but not ready. Now we are well and truly ready, and we are ready to receive some very awesome cars, of which we have many lined up. And the great thing about the approach to NVN London so far is because the majority of people who are booking their cars in are aware that we love to share cars as well. There's been a great deal of our awesome clients who are up for sharing cars. Not all of them, and we have a very interesting installation to hide those cars, which I shall share with you soon. But the good news is there's going to be some really special cars coming through those doors very soon, which I'm going to be able to share with you guys. So it's a big time ahead for NVN London. At this stage, I want to say a massive, colossal thank you to everyone behind that lens for the support of the Mr. JWW channel. You really are a massive, massive integral part to the fact that this place exists, which is why I'm not taking you guys for granted, and we are very much looking forward to getting you down here and involved in future exciting projects and content. So it'd be awesome to meet as many of you as I possibly can. And on that note, I am going to take that selfish moment, turn off the camera, kick back on that sofa with my shoes off, drink my coffee, and perhaps read the next edition of Road Rat magazine. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Ciao!